Well, I woke up thinking about my own demise. Is a life I'm living just a thin disguise? If a drunk should hit me on the way to town, well, they bury my body in a hole in the ground.
No stranger to Fraser, Crows FM and Tracy and the Big D is Kim Cheshire. We've been actually playing his latest single, Looks Like Heaven, quite a bit lately, and we thought we'd better get the guy on and have a bit of a chat and find out a little bit of background behind it. Kim, thank you very much for yet another earworm.
Thanks, mate. It's my pleasure to be here talking to you, and it's really lovely to hear you've been playing it.
It has a deeper meaning behind it, but it's got such a catchy little tune.
Well, that's great that you think that, because I kind of thought that when I put it out, I wanted to put it out as the first single originally, but other people persuaded me otherwise. And then I said, now I've put the other single out, and now this one. They're so completely different. I don't know how the public are going to react to this one now, but the reaction to both of them has been really fantastic. There's been no issue with it at all. Nobody seems to have a problem with the fact that I can't stay in the same genre for two songs. You know?
But it's nice, though, and particularly now that, you've given us these two little teasers already. When we're looking at albums, we don't want to hear the same thing all the way through because it's like playing one song for 65 minutes.
I have to say, I think there is a little bit of that going on, and I don't like it myself either, And I've never been very good at doing that. I couldn't do the same thing twice, I couldn't remember what I'd done before to do it again. So for me, actually, and it's really relevant for my album, to be honest, because my album is pretty eclectic. It jumps from track to track. I mean, there's a couple of similar things on there, but really there's a lot more variety than you'd find on most commercial albums, I think, yeah.
Tell the people at home about the story behind the actual song.
It came about from watching a TV show with a lady on this TV show explaining how she'd died and come back to life again. She was in hospital. She died while on a hospital bed and then got revived a few minutes later and came back with a story to tell. And this lady's tale was wonderful, and what I loved about it so much, it was just really whimsical and really sweet, and she sounded so thrilled and so elated by the experience. And it was just like something out of a Mills and Boon story or something, not like the romance, but just the tweeness of it all, the whimsical nature of it all. And I wanted to try and capture that and try and capture the uplifting sense or the uplifting feelings she got from that experience. It's very lovely, and I just really wanted to try to capture that and, honour her experience,
Where would you say you get most of your inspirations for writing music over your period of writing?
I was writing about this yesterday for somebody for a magazine, and I started to try and explain it. And generally, I don't start with a subject. What I do is I let my mind wander, and my mind will hook onto something, and it will bring up lyrical lines. Usually when I'm walking, driving, riding a bike, anything in motion. Then I'll take those lines and I'll think, wow, what could they be about? I don't actually think what they're about until I've come up with them, until they've come out of my head. And I think, wow, what can my mind be talking about now? And so I kind of watch it develop and let it develop. And then I leave it for a little while doing that, and then I will intervene and start moving things around, moving the ideas around and kind of shaping it. As a subject matter, I never pick the subject matter.
I would imagine when you're first starting out, you're trying and your brain's going a zillion miles an hour saying it has to be commercial, it has to be this, it has to be that, and you're writing for a reason. Yep. Does that change over the times where you go, I'm just going to write for myself now and write the feelings? Is that the sort of thing that goes with songwriters across the years?
Well, yeah, that's very observant of you and a really good question, because I spent in the late 60s and early 70s, I was managed by a pop songwriter in England. I grew up in England and I was managed by this pop songwriter called Chris Andrews, who'd written lots of pop songs for lots of pop stars of the 60s. And he embedded into my mind somehow the idea or how to make a song stick in people's head, a technique to use to get that to work. Now, I don't even think about that anymore. That somehow just got embedded in me. So when I think of a tune now and I come up with a tune or come up with a lyrical idea, they automatically have that because I'd kind of trained myself to do it, So when you say, like, this song is really catchy, I didn't sit down and think, I've got to make this really catchy so it becomes a hit and so people play it on radio and so on. I don't consciously think of that anymore. It just kind of happens.
we're going to play your song right now, Looks Like Heaven, but if people want to connect with you via social media, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I have a Facebook page, which is Kim Cheshire Musician, and I've got a website, a brand new one, which is www.kimcheshire.com. Nothing complicated about remembering that one.
And obviously we'll be able to get a hold of all your music on the digital platforms.
And all of the platforms, yeah. My album, that'll be available on all those platforms. Should have some CDs available later in the week that I can start getting out to people. And so, feel free to check it out and buy it if you want it.
Sit back, enjoy this one, and have a listen to the lyrics, folks. It is called Looks Like Heaven. Thanks, Kim.
She said you won't believe it, but I swear that it's true.